Golden Kamuy, an adventure through the Hokkaido region after the Russo-Japanese War, featuring an accurate representation of the Ainu people and a revenge story that makes sense and is impactful. But, you know, it's not as good as Yuri, is it? There is a tale deep in the Hokkaido region about the legend of the Ainu gold hidden away by a prisoner. But he left clues. The clues to the Ainu gold are tattooed on the bodies of men. Whoever get all of these men's tattoos and track down the gold get to keep that gold. Sugimoto hears about this and decides to hunt down the gold to be able to pay for a dead friend's wife's fading vision. Heading through the frozen forest, he meets an Ainu girl who guides him through the frozen landscape. But it's revealed that the Ainu gold was stolen and was rightfully the Ainu's. And a Sherpa wants revenge for the Ainu people's wrong death and to get her gold back. Together, they brave the extreme weather and terrain of the mountain and fend off the wildlife and the other dangerous people searching for the Ainu gold. This is Golden Kamuy. Golden Kamuy is from the studio Geno, a new studio which previously worked on the anime Kokoku, which released the season prior to this, and it is 12 episodes, currently streaming on Crunchyroll and dubbed on Funimation. It is also directed by Hitoshi Nanba, who has directed Fate Grand Order and Ghostsick.
Yeah, come on, pal. I'm talking to you here. Seiichi Sugimoto, can you hear me? You just got back from the war with Russia, right? So why the hell are you here?
Golden Kamuy is a series that isn't like any other anime that has aired this year. There is one reason for this, and it already should be somewhat obvious, but that girl thinks Miso is Osama. Of course, just kidding, this series explores the Hokkaido region and the Ainu people, who are basically the indigenous Japanese people of that region. Throughout all of this anime, especially early on and even through the show's main plot, you will learn about the Ainu, their beliefs and their viewpoints on life. Not only that, but you will learn about their culture, which may be one of the most fascinating parts of this anime. As an example, something you learn early in episode 4 is that the women get these tattoos around their mouths. This is done to show the woman's age, influence, and their husband's status, if they have one. While today we would make angry Tumblr posts about this, back then it was just a normal way of life for the Ainu people. You may think that is dumb. Well, we also learn in this anime, maybe in a more subtle way, but we learn that the Ainu are extremely forward-thinking people. This transfers over into a Sherpa, our main heroine, who says herself she is the girl for the future. She doesn't exactly scoff off her culture or hates it. She just wants to move her culture forward. She is pretty much what the Ainu people were about, distilled down into a single person. They had their culture and their beliefs, but they were so forward-thinking that they assimilated into Russian and Japanese populations and now are a rare people to see. Not only that, but to have an anime cover this, because since their assimilation into the Japanese and Russian population, there are quite a bit of people who don't even know who the Ainu are, and some of these people are their ancestors. Is that not truly fascinating? I'm not usually a history buff, but this anime makes the Ainu so interesting and fascinating that you can't help but want to know more about them.
Being a mountain of corpses in your wake. Bayonets, machine guns, even cannonballs couldn't kill you. So let's hear it. That true or what?
The characters in this anime is what makes this series. These characters are all unique and a very welcomed breath of fresh air. Let's start with Sugimoto. He was previously in the Russo-Japanese War. Not only that, but this man has a whole legend based around him, as he is the immortal Sugimoto, a man who literally cannot die. Of course, this is because of his exceptional combat skill and, well, luck, and not so much some supernatural force as you would think. But he is a man that is both feared when even mentioned by his name, and as well people see this as a challenge, and people go to seek him to destroy him, or simply for the love of a fight. Not only that, but this guy is a pretty nice guy, all things considered. Of course, we haven't got way too much in his backstory in just the first season, but you will come to love Sugimoto almost immediately because he's a fun character. And whatever it may be, Sugimoto is a character with easily some of the better writing in terms of the spring 2018 season.
Back in the day, you could find gold all over Hokkaido. There were riverbanks had pieces as big as soybeans. People were coming back with 30 monmei worth of the stuff, day after day.
Another great character is, of course, a Sherpa, a young Ainu girl accompanying Sugimoto to guide him through the forest. She's a very skilled girl, but there is more to her than you'd expect. A Sherpa is a girl for the future, as I've said before, and wants to assimilate more into the Japanese culture. But after her family's gold was stolen by a prisoner, she and Sugimoto try to uncover the mysteries of the gold and get revenge for the death of some of her tribe. Her character motivations are incredibly simple, but the reason and why they're so simple is so good because she has such a satisfying personality that you can't help but not be charmed by her. Not only that, but a Sherpa and all of these characters are cunning and smart too, so it's easy to like them as they don't make brain-headed decisions, which is very important in an anime where you're dealing with soldiers and the mystery of where this Ainu gold is, and being as grounded as this show is. You can't have a soldier or an Ainu girl who knows everything about the forest go out there and just bum around for a bit. These characters know what they're doing and they act like it. But really, these characters are seriously great, no matter what role they may be in. I mean, there aren't many series where you have a random character show up in just one episode who just wants to poach bears, and is so good at it, he can kill a bear with one shot from his bear hunting rifle. Or another character where he is known to be able to escape from literally anything. These characters are so well characterized, and because of those characterizations, they're incredibly enjoyable, memorable, and maybe some of my favorite characters of this whole year so far.
Then one man stole it all. Killed every last Ainu guard, the maniac.
But the most disappointing thing about this anime, you already know what I'm going to talk about, is the art design. And that being said, it's not technically that bad at all, but it's obvious this anime was made with a shoestring budget, and that's probably an insult to shoestring budgets. Backgrounds in this anime look like crude drawings that harkens back to the 90s with anime like Berserk, which was another anime with a very low budget with the exact same problem Golden Kamuy has. While there are things that are very well done, like the setting's look and how its character designs are well made, there are still things like the awful CGI models for the animals, and the generic fire effects in Adobe that are used, or action scenes that are cut in half when they don't even show the actions in them really. Sure, these may be nitpicks to some, and honestly, they never once harmed my experience outside of the first episode having an awful bear CGI, which has pretty much become a meme at this point, but it is something to think about. And it is quite disappointing how small the budget was, as this anime could have visually been probably one of the best if it just had a little bit more of support.
You should come with me. There's still plenty of gold to be found in Hokkaido. You don't have anything tying you down, right? I need to try and make money for my family.
Another lacking aspect of the show is the animation, and it's probably much worse than the issues with the art. As an example, the obvious one people always seem to bring up is the CGI aminals that look horrid. But I don't want to bandwagon on that, as I feel it's not the reason people should actually be discussing this anime. There's much worse examples. And anyways, those CGI aminals are such a small part, rarely featured in the show as is. Instead, we should just discuss how middling the animation is. There is nothing that stands out here at all. It's so safe and does everything it needs to. The animation relies on your imagination and audio design used in that scene. Once again, it did not harm my experience watching this anime technically, but it is something that should be brought up because it's really not that good at all.
Umeko. She loses more of her eyesight every day. There's no time. It makes me sad to think about her not being able to see her child grow up.
An aspect that may not be surprising considering everything else we've talked about so far, the score has more depth than you'd think it would. While a lot of the production aspects of this show are lacking, the music is not the same way. I found the score to be quite exceptional in many places, like with a fast-paced action scene like in the first episode. Not only that, but where there are some dramatic moments in this story, I felt the music accompanied it very well without going overboard. It's also worth noting the opening and endings are pretty solid for this anime. The opening is from Man with a Mission as well, which is always a welcomed name when it comes to anime openings.
Saichi, please take care of Umeko. Nobody will want to marry a woman with failing vision, not with a child, too. You're my best friend. I'm begging you.
Don't say that. It'll work out, Toriji.
So I only watched episodes 4 through 8 of the dub, and I must say, it's alright. The performances from Ishirpa and Sugimoto are probably the best the English dub has, and that's because they chose very good leads. Ishirpa is played by Monica Rial, and Sugimoto by Ian Sinclair. Other characters like Shiraishi are very well done too, but the rest of the dub is pretty solid otherwise. Nothing to really write home about. It's a dub that you can watch over the sub easily if you decide to, but there is also one thing this dub does that I also really like. They left in the native Japanese. Basically, there are some characters that speak the language the Ainu did, and they did not change that for the dub. It's all in there from the original subbed version. So, you'll still be reading subs at some point, but trust me, you'd want it that way.
I can't go back with you. I'm sorry.
Wait, no! Your family's waiting for you! Damn it! Dorothy! Stop!
Even though this anime has some pacing issues in the second half and the animation and art issues, this is one anime that I'd easily recommend over a lot of others. It's so unique in today's anime climate where studios are releasing more and more moe blobs or isekai anime. It's something I would personally say to probably buy on Blu-ray to support it because we need more anime like this, where they go into history and culture of people like the Ainu, or even settings-wise. Hell, even the time it's set in. We need more of that. We need more anime like this right now, because there are only so many times I can see a 16-year-old girl falling in love with Handsome-kun. And that ain't a dig on any anime or the people who enjoy those, or 16-year-old girl or Handsome-kun. It's just the reality of anime right now. So go out and watch Golden Kamuy. It's easily one of the best to come out in the spring 2018 season. So, did you enjoy my review of Golden Kamuy? If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Also, if you haven't already and you're just stopping by, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give me a shot, and if you're hitting that subscribe button, ring the bell so you never miss a video from me. And if you haven't already, put down the comments if you enjoyed Golden Kamuy or not. Tell me if my review persuaded you to watch it or it didn't. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and as always, I appreciate you, so thanks for sticking around. It means a lot. Bye-bye!